Good afternoon and welcome to Valley Views. I'm Glenn Edison, your host, and I'm certainly glad to have you today. And as always, we'd like to thank BTC Fiber for sponsoring our program. And you can see this interview on BTC Fiber's YouTube page as well as cable channel 18. So view us, watch us, like us, share us any way you can. We'd love to have you. But today we have with us Miss Debbie DeBord here at the courthouse, and she's Clerk and
Master.
I just want to make sure I had that right, Clerk and Master.
Yes.
I had Clerk and something else. Anyway, sorry about that. Well, thank you for being with us today, Debbie. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, sir.
And I should point out to our viewers, we're doing a series on the Bledsoe County office holders, and we're trying to give you a little background on what they do. A lot of times you go in the office and you think you got to pay a bill or you got to do this or that, but you don't know a lot of the behind the scenes work, and that's what we're going to be doing in this series. So the next few weeks you're going to be seeing different office holders and being interviewed, and they're going to give us their little bit of background. But first we're going to start back with a little bit of history about you, Debbie. Give us a little background history on you.
I became employed in the Clerk and Master's office in 1983. I maintained that position until January of 2019 when I was appointed by Chancellor Melissa Willis.
Oh, okay, so you've been at it a while.
I have, sir.
A little bit of experience.
Yes, just a little bit.
Well, other than being appointed, before that, were you involved in the county at all here at the courthouse?
I was not. I actually started on a summer program. I was hired by Clerk and Master at that time to work during the summer. Mm-hmm. And then when that ended, he hired me full time. And I've been here ever since.
Wow, that's great. That's great. And when did you officially take over as the Clerk and Master? What?
January 1 of 2019.
Oh, okay. Oh, 2019. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. And in your office, let's talk a little bit about your office, about the Clerk and Master's office. Give us a little bit of information about what all you do on a day-to-day basis.
On a day-to-day basis, we collect delinquent taxes. We have several different types of lawsuits. If those are brought into us, we have to file those, enter them into our system, scan the paperwork in. Now we have electronic filing, so attorneys could submit their cases by electronic filing, and then we would have to go in there and approve it, and then print it off and put it in case binders.
Well, I know sometimes when I deal with electronics, it doesn't always work the way I want it to. Ever had to go back to an attorney and say, hey, can you refile that to us?
Yes, we have. Sometimes they don't have the correct information. Sometimes if they haven't filed with us before, they don't have their bar number. So we would have to call their office, get their bar number for it to be able to be submitted to us.
And imagine that with court cases, probably a lot of people don't realize in court cases, there's more actual court cases, but a lot of them are still on file and waiting to be heard. We see them in the paper, the newspaper a lot of times. You'll see the major cases, but then there's a lot more coming up that are not there yet.
That is correct. Part of my duties also entail the records management of these cases. I have to get dockets ready before court. I have to email those out to all the attorneys, to the chancellor. Just things like that. And then what is done in court when we get those orders, then we have to put those in the minute books. And sometimes we have funds that's paid into our court, and so we have to maintain those funds. We have to invest them and then disperse them according to court order.
So in other words, if a judge ordered someone to, say, for example, to pay me X amount of dollars, and it was on a monthly basis, X amount of dollars per month, they would pay you, and then you all would send out the check. Is that how that works?
Sometimes it does work that way. Sometimes it's ordered to be paid directly to the individual. What we invest usually is, for example, let's just say there's some funds a minor receives in a court case for whatever reason that may be. Then we have to hold those funds until the minor becomes of age. And sometimes it's several years.
Wow. Well, that's interesting. Because, now you hear all these minors are 12, 13, sometimes doing different things. And that could be quite a while.
It could be.
It could be 5 or 6 years.
It really could be, and we've had some, I think, 6 years. 6 years is probably the longest that we've had them for the minors.
Now, if someone wanted to file for a court appearance, they come to your office to file?
Yes, that's called a request a docket. It has to be filed 7 days in advance of the court hearing, and the other counsel attorneys have to be notified and in agreement with that in order for that to go that smoothly.
And then if it's just an individual, do y'all handle like small claims and stuff like that, or does that go through?
No, that goes through Sessions Court.
Sessions Court,
yes.
okay.
Now, we do have very few individuals that try to represent themselves. That comes into where we can't advise them of what they can file. We don't have forms to hand out. We can't help them fill them out because that would be legal advice.
Right.
We're not lawyers, so we
Right.
can't do that. So they are on their own if they want to pursue a lawsuit.
Well, that'd be some heavy stuff for
It is.
because with the lack of people come to y'all because of your knowledge of what y'all can do and how to get everything, all your ducks in a row. So if you don't have that knowledge, then you may not have all your ducks in a row, and it may really hurt you in court.
That's exactly right. Yes, sir.
So it's important for them to come to you. Like I say, you can show them the forms, maybe even tell them how to fill out forms, but...
No, we can't advise them on how to fill the forms out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that would be legal advice once
would be
again.
legal.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Then best advice is get an attorney, right?
That would be the best advice, especially for your own interest.
Yes,
you know.
yes. Well, now, how many employees do you have? I know you had the one young lady over there now. Is that the only one you have?
No, I have two.
Two?
Two full-time, yes.
And I imagine y'all stay pretty busy, right?
Yes, we do. Yes.
And go ahead.
I was going to say, we're working on a delinquent tax sale, so that's keeping us very busy right now. We'll be auctioning off properties that have their taxes paid. So that's not something that we like to do, but if you don't pay your taxes, then we ultimately will sell your land.
Right. It's not really up to you for all that. You just want people to pay their taxes, but if they
Exactly.
don't, it gets handed to you.
Yes.
And then you have to do the appropriate.
That is correct.
Are those sales a lot of times like at the courthouse steps or
It's actually in the Chancery courtroom.
Chancery courtroom?
Yes.
And I guess that's when you sell that, it goes. Is it like bidders? Is that how
Yes.
that works?
The minimum bid is the amount of the delinquent taxes due. That's the starting bid. And then we go up from there. The bids go up from there.
And like you say, you don't like to do that because I know sometimes there's hurt feelings in that. People losing their property. But then a lot of times I've known of cases where people have just left the property and not paid, thinking, well, it'll just go away.
Yes. A lot of it seems to be from out-of-state individuals that has purchased property here. And then maybe they pass away and their children don't know that they own this property. And, so we have to do some research to try to find these individuals and their heirs and try to contact them. We do a lot of research before we sell someone's property to try to notify them correctly.
Well, that takes a lot of time.
It does take a lot of time, yes,
I mean,
sir.
not just getting on the phone today, but it might take several days or weeks.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct.
I guess you've run across cases where maybe children didn't know their parents or family members had property.
Yes. I did some research in one instance. I found where one of the property owners was deceased and she had an estate in another state. And I was able to contact that court and find out the executor over the estate sent her notice and she was able to redeem the property and get it back to their family.
Oh, okay.
But that's after many hours of research.
Yeah, and that takes, that's one of those behind the scenes things that people don't realize. You might be back in your back office back there on the phone maybe for even hours trying to call different, you call one place, that's refer you to another, and refer you to another, and it may take you a while.
Yes, that happens sometimes.
So you do that, and a lot of people don't see that. They don't they want you out front, and they're thinking, well, they're not working. Well,
Exactly.
you are working. It's just can't get to
Usually
them at
back
the
there
time.
doing some research.
Yeah, and that, I'm sure the research, even in your regular court job, your circuit court clerk and master job, it takes time to make sure you have all your ducks in a row. Because if you don't, that determines where a case could be thrown out if you didn't have everything in line or reassigned for another time.
It would probably be reassigned for another day if I didn't have the proper paperwork. Yes.
And that I know that's probably you get nervous on court dates because you want to make sure everything's right.
Everything's right, yes.
And
we have to prepare for that a couple of weeks in advance. We have to make sure our dockets are correct. We have to pull those cases for every case that's on the docket, pull the binders. Like I said, we send out emails notifying the attorneys that just a reminder that their cases are on the dockets.
And I guess that's also important because attorneys, they have so many clients, you know, and one case is over here, and they have cases everywhere, and a variety of cases about a variety of things. So they may be studying out of one law book one day about something, and then out of another the next day. So
that's correct.
So it's important for you and your staff to keep everybody updated on that and say, hey, you got to.
Yes. Just a reminder, your case is coming up.
And then I'm sure you probably run across when maybe an attorney where a judge in another case has probably assigned them a certain date where that conflicts with y'all's court dates. Does that ever happen?
Conflicts with court dates?
Yeah.
A few times, but not very often. Not very often. The judges have their calendar and they all know where they're going to be.
Oh, okay.
So, we've got 2 courtrooms. So there's circuit court and then the chancery courtroom. So we don't usually have scheduling conflicts.
Oh, well, that's good to know.
That is good, yes.
Yeah, good for everybody because it puts some more work on you if you had the conflicts. Because then you have to put the case back and then hold on to it and make sure you still have all your information right.
That is correct.
Well, is there anything what am I trying to say? How I'm going to say this without it sounding bad? In your job, are there certain things that maybe you dislike doing? I mean, that you don't like having to do?
Well, I don't like selling people's property. They've worked for it, they've bought it, but yet at the same time, our county operates on these taxes.
Right.
So, yeah, that's something that I'm not comfortable doing, but yet it's part of the job.
Yeah, you have to. I guess you have to look at it that way. It's your job. Not. I mean, none of us like taking things away from people.
Correct.
That, like you say, like they've worked for, but sometimes that just happens.
And sometimes it does. Yes.
And I guess most of your cases where you've had to do that, probably most of the people understood that. I'm assuming.
Yes, most of them do. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess there might be a few that just don't want you to do that at all.
Oh yes.
And you said you had 2 employees, and they work probably just as hard as you do when they're either helping someone at the window, like when I first approached a while ago, or they're doing stuff that you're talking about on these cases.
That's right. Yes, they assist me in everything that I do.
So they're basically doing pretty much the same job as you do. They're just helping.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah. They man the phones a lot better than I do. And they handle the customers as well. File all the papers that come through, the pleadings that we have. They file all those. But yeah, basically they do everything that I do.
Well, and it's probably not a pleasant job sometimes when people have to file these cases, because sometimes they don't want to file a case. They'd rather not. They'd rather just settle it. And then other times, that's the only option.
Sometimes that is the only option, and they have no choice but to do that. And that's what we're here for, to file their paperwork for them.
Right, and to help them. You're not there as the enemy, you're there as a friend.
Correct. We're just there to file their documents for them.
And help them get it squared away so that they'll have their ducks in a row.
That's right, yes.
I mean, like you said, you can't give them legal advice, you can't help them fill it out, but
right.
I'm sure if they had a question or something they could ask about things about the court, about how to be prepared, or what they need?
Yes, absolutely. We'll give them as much guidance as we can without giving them legal advice.
Right, because if you did give them legal advice, then that would come back on you.
Correct. We don't want that to happen.
No, because then you'd probably be out of a job. Wouldn't you?
Yes, it's a good possibility.
Well, and I know sometimes that's probably a fine line when you got people there. You want to help because maybe they're just not into all their. I'm not trying to put somebody down, but even myself, I don't understand all the legal mumbo jumbo, and I'd probably have to ask, what does this mean?
Right.
And
So sure, we could do that. We could give them definitions. If there's some language in the documents that they don't understand that they're being served with, then we can explain what that means. But as far as giving them direction on how to proceed with their case or filling out their forms, that we can't do. We can guide them. There's some legal aid for those that can afford an attorney. I'm not sure what the criteria is, but we can advise them to call there. There's some access on the internet, tncourts.gov. There's some free forms there that they have access to. So we can give them that type of direction.
well, I know the state of Tennessee seems like they have a lot of forms and things online for just about anything and everything. Because I've requested stuff from a variety of different departments at different times. Of course, sometimes it's a pain to go through all the little clicks you have to click and to make sure you're clicking the right thing, but it is there available. Now, do y'all have a social media page or something where people could contact you on either maybe not necessarily Facebook, but can they contact you on the internet?
We have a web page, Bledsoe County Chancery Court, and there's a lot of information on there. The filing fees is on there. There's directions for e-filing, and then, of course, our phone number and my email.
So either way, they could either call you, or if they happen to be out of town, they had your email, they could send you an email and ask questions about whatever they needed to do.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's good, and the idea of having the website there helps a lot, because that could save you actually a lot of time.
Yes.
I imagine it does if people go there.
It helps a lot. And then Marie Mills, she's one of my deputy clerks. She maintains the website. Any changes that we need made, she is the one responsible for handling that.
And they can get all the forms and everything through that, or file?
They have the filing fees. In other words, how much it costs to file certain types of cases, that is on our webpage.
And we've talked about cases in general. What all cases do you have in your
We
court?
have divorces, adoptions, surrenders. We have probate, conservatorships, real estate matters, contract debt, just to name a few.
So you have a wide variety of things.
We do
So
have a variety.
on any day, you could be working on any of those at one time.
Yes, that's correct.
Or several of them at the same time.
Several at the same time a lot of times.
And I imagine that that keeps you busy as far as having to know all the rules and regulations and laws about each different
Yes.
case, because I'm sure all of them, real estate's different from adoption and stuff like that,
Yes.
so everything's got a different set of rules.
It does. It does.
So I imagine you have to keep your rule books on.
Yes. Yes, I attend a conference about twice a year, and it goes over some of the areas that we cover. For instance, I just came back from one last week, and we talked about adoptions and conservatorships and the new changes. There's new oaths in conservatorships, so that helps us also to keep up to speed, so to speak, with what changes.
And you do that training on a yearly basis every year?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Well, that's good, because it keeps you up, because I know there's laws change every year.
Yes, they do.
And or they're added to, and that gives you sometimes a headache. Yes, I imagine it does.
Sometimes, yes.
But knowing what to do and how to do is what people depend on you about. Now, do you see of course, since you're dealing with the court cases and things, do you see a lot of customers on a daily basis, or?
Not necessarily, and not as many as some offices. We have where you can pay over the phone. So, for example, if you owed me delinquent taxes, you could just call the office and pay your taxes and never have to come in.
Oh.
So we don't have as much foot traffic as some of the other offices do.
Because I imagine some of the other offices have to have in person.
Correct. And then also, I mentioned e-filing, so that eliminates some traffic as well.
Well, actually, it makes it more convenient for
It
people.
does. It does. It saves them time as well as us.
Yeah, and they don't have to get dressed up to come
That's
down.
correct.
Well, that's kind of neat. Let's see. What about your hours? I know your courthouse has regular hours posted, but what are your hours?
They're the same as everyone else's. We work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 to 4. On Thursdays, 8 to 12. And we do not close for lunch. We stay open the whole time.
Okay, and then nobody's here on Saturday at all?
No one's here on Saturdays.
I don't blame them. I take Saturday off too. Of course, y'all have a lot of things going on during Saturdays up here. So, is there anything I haven't asked you that maybe you'd like to add to what we've talked about today? Because I know that because this is. I won't say that it's not a subject I want to be involved with because I don't want to be in court. I have had to be in court, but anything that maybe people need to know that we haven't talked about?
Well, it just occurred to me, I did not mention unclaimed funds.
Oh.
So, for example, let's say some money was paid into the court on behalf of an individual and they don't claim that money. Then after a year, I have to turn it over to the state of Tennessee.
Oh, okay.
But we have to try to reach out once again to notify you, so there's more research to do. So those funds are turned over to the state of Tennessee.
Because I know recently my daughter found my name on the state of Tennessee website, and when I looked, I thought, well, and I think it was maybe some insurance return, wasn't much, but it was there. I didn't know it was there, because so. I'm going to try to get that back. It's just a little bit, but that's interesting because sometimes like I didn't know it was there.
That's correct.
But I don't know why, because they had my address. It had my address on there. I thought, well, you never did come to me.
Right.
But a lot of people, in a lot of those cases, people have moved away, or moved to another address and didn't think anything about. Or maybe they forgot to tell everybody on their list they've changed.
Right. The majority of my unclaimed funds come from us selling the delinquent taxes. So if there's any excess money that we received other than the taxes, that goes back to the property owner. The county doesn't benefit from any excess. So that's where a lot of our unclaimed funds come from.
So it can't go in the rainy day fund.
No, it cannot, unfortunately. It goes back to the property owner.
Well, I understand that. I was just trying to be funny there because
Yes.
Probably if it could, it would. I'm sure. But well, that's interesting, and I hope that by doing this interview that people learn from your office and learn what to do. And I know that I've learned I didn't know about the e-file, which is nice. That's really nice that people don't have to leave home if they know what to do, and if they brought the forms. Well, you can't help them fill it out, but if they had any question about what terminology meant, you would help them out on that.
Yes.
And help them to understand, because you don't want to put the wrong thing down. And if you don't understand, say, well, I'll just put this down, and
Right.
And then you could be in trouble.
That's correct.
You could be paying out a lot more money on something, because I know that's when I was in school. If I didn't understand a word, I never did look it up, and I should have, because when I got in high school, I was thinking, what does that mean? So, but I do that now. I look it up now, and I make sure. But I'm so glad to have a chance to talk to you today, and I hope everyone else will enjoy this. So we'll get it on soon, and get people out so they can get to know you. And now people will get to know you, whether they come to your office or not. They'll say, I know her.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for taking the time
Thank
to
you.
interview me.
And again, folks, you can see this interview on BTC Fiber's YouTube page as well as Cable Channel 18. So until next time, have a great day. Hey everybody, this is Glenn Edison from Valley Views. We appreciate you watching our shows, and we would like for you to like, share, and follow us on Facebook, as well as like and subscribe to our YouTube page.